Today's guest is a true pioneer. Carla Esparza, the Cookie Monster, didn't just fight in women's MMA. She helped launch it. She became the first ever strawweight champion in Invicta and the UFC, but her story started long before the belts. Today, we walk through that journey, where it began, how she rose, and what it took to make history. This is Carla Esparza. Hey, Carla.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay, so I just want to tell the viewers that it's crazy how you and I met. Insane. Like we're what would you call it? We share the same wedding date
Wedding date. Wedding date.
or yeah, wedding date. Yeah, or honeymoon date, I would say. All right,
Oh,
so I met Carla in the airport. I first saw you in the airport and I was like, "Oh wow, that's Carla Esparza. That's pretty cool." And my wife had just gotten into UFC. She started watching it. She loves it. Uh, so she was really excited too. And whatever happened, flight, we got on the flight and everything, and we didn't get to reach out. Then we're on our honeymoon and probably spent whatever, 7 days there. And I think around the last day, somebody was like, "You have to go to this restaurant. It's the most amazing restaurant," and you can say how amazing that restaurant was.
yeah, for sure. It was great. That was like our last dinner too. I always like to do like a big, nice last dinner, like our best dinner of the trip on our last night. So I was
That
like,
was
oh,
our last dinner too. That's so weird. So that's where we saw you, and it was like a house, right? I think it was their
yeah.
house.
It was like very boutique like. It was really small and like very intimate. Like they only had a few tables for seating and stuff. It was cool.
Yep. Yeah, in Bora Bora. I forgot to point that out. Um, it's a I don't know if anybody knows where that is, but it's really
French
beautiful.
Asia. It's
Yeah,
a couple hours past Hawaii, and is like
exactly.
the ultimate honeymoon destination place. I think almost every single person we met out there was like, I'm on my honeymoon or anniversary or
Yep.
something romantic.
Yeah. So that's when we talked to you. We had that dinner. It was beautiful. I mean, we didn't have dinner together, but we were seated next to you.
Practically.
I know, right? We did have dinner together. But man, that food was bomb.
It was so good. Like I felt like after I cut weight, when you're just like like you just stuff yourself like, oh, I can eat food again. But it was just the food was so good. Like
Wait a
it,
minute, you just fought right before that.
the week before, yeah. Because I had like, or yeah, the week before because I had won my title the
Yeah.
week before I got married. So I like walked with my belt like in my wedding, and then like we flew like the next day for our honeymoon. So yeah,
That's
I actually wore my black pearl earrings that I got out in Bora Bora. I was like, oh, this is a perfect time to wear.
that's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, so that's where we met. Anyways, so I'll say like what this podcast is all about. My wife loves UFC now. I mean, she watches it. She's asking me, is there any fights tonight? Are there any fights we missed? Like during the week, at times when I'm like, I just want to sit down and watch a show, just like a 90 Day Fiance or something. And she's like, are there any fights? I'm like, all right, let's go. All right. Um, but what really brought her to fighting, which probably brought me, it was the same thing. It was the same caveat. It was the stories about the fighters. You hear some of these stories and they're so, I would say they're so beautiful, and some are really rough stories, but you could tell some of these fighters came into the UFC and the UFC was like it was their outlet, right? So the podcast is called Heart of the Bad Wolf, and it's because the old saying that a grandpa and his grandson are talking. The grandpa says, we all have a good wolf and a bad wolf inside of us. And the grandson says, which one wins? And the grandpa says, the one you feed. And I love that, but I believe that it isn't which one we feed. It's we have both, and they're always competing. And what UFC fighters have done that's so unique is they put that bad wolf in a cage and they go and feed it and they go and train and they feed it while they train. But every fighter that you come across outside of the ring, they're amazing people. Like their
Sure.
heart is on the outside of their body. They're so beautiful. They're so sweet. They're so kind because they left it all in there. And I feel like uh, I heard a fighter say, I trust fighters in a traffic argument rather than like somebody who's never stepped into a gym. Those are the scariest people.
Oh, for sure. I feel like fighting is such a great outlet for everybody, but especially if maybe you kind of come from a certain background or you have certain demons or whatever. And it's almost like its own therapy. Like I remember when I was going through stressors in life and just being like I could skip training right now, or I actually really need to go to training. And then I would leave feeling so much lighter. Cause it's just, I mean, I could, even if somebody had like a rough day at work and just like, oh, like so and so, like did this at work and they're driving me crazy, and you leave jujitsu or you leave training, like sparring, and you're just like, like I got it all out, you know? It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really special. I mean, and then I started training and I think that's when I got really into UFC. So
Yeah.
let me go back. First off, I just want to say this. I'm gonna go through your accolades. I'm gonna blow you up because you deserve it. UFC Women's Strawweight Champion, two-time winner, including being the inaugural champion, which is huge. If people don't know what the inaugural champion is, that means that's the first time ever, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Longest time between UFC title reigns, 2,612 days between winning second title. That's huge because most people win a title and then they never see that belt again if it's that long of a period, if that's
Yeah.
that long of a
Usually like
stretch.
you're on your way up, you hit your peak and maybe you
100%.
look a little something like this or like this, but
Yep.
yeah, that's probably one of the things I'm most proud of. It's just, it's my story of perseverance, of just not giving up and like just keep working harder, getting better, getting better.
I'm definitely going to bring that up later because I want to talk about that. Uh, the Ultimate Fighter 20 tournament winner. That was that was your step into the UFC. Fight of the night with Alexa Grasso. Performance of the night. Most takedowns in the UFC women's strawweight division. 48 takedowns, which most people are like, okay, what does that mean to me? 48 takedowns is ridiculous because that's taking a fighter down, especially in mixed martial arts, is not easy.
Absolutely not.
Yep.
I wonder if I still hold that record. I'd be curious to see if anybody's broken that yet.
I believe in the strawweight women's division. I think you might still hold that, but I could be
I think
wrong.
I had the record for all the divisions like before, but I'd be curious to see if like who has the spot now.
Okay, two more and then I'll stop. Invictus strawweight champion, inaugural champion. Okay,
Yeah.
again, first time ever. Female
OG.
Fighter of the Year 2014, recognized by MMA Weekly and Combat Press. What does that feel like?
I mean, honestly, like I don't really look back too much or, like try to, you know, think about it. But I mean, it's really cool when I look back at it. And for me, the most meaningful thing is the place I had in growing women's MMA. Like that's the biggest thing, and bringing more female fans in, like Tika and so many others. And that's the biggest thing to me because like accomplishments, of course, are great and just everything that comes with it. But for me, just I think growing the sport feels more like a legacy, and having those like inaugural, like Invicta FC titles, inaugural UFC titles, like, it's just, I feel like that's history. Like that's a legacy that I want to have.
You truly started it for women. I mean, I remember hearing Dana White saying, I will never, there's a video of him saying, I will never have a woman fight in the UFC. And
Yeah, no, for I that's one of my favorite videos.
right? I mean that's huge. So I'm gonna go way back. I wrestled for 12 years. There, I think there was two women wrestlers in our whole entire state of Pennsylvania that I knew of.
Yeah.
Erin Tomio, shout out. She was awesome. But it's really difficult. Like they're not accepting of women because what happens if a woman beats you? That's mostly what everybody was afraid of, all the guys.
Yeah, for sure. And I totally get that. It's almost like a lose-lose situation for guys. You beat the girl, then you just beat a girl. You should beat her. And then it's, or you beat her up too bad. And then you lose to her and you lost to a girl. And it's just, I understand why it was hard for guys. But these girls that like sit through that too, including myself, are just like, you had to be a different breed for sure. Cause it was not
Yep.
easy.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. It was the one girl that did wrestle, you have to be the best. There's no other option. Like you have to go above and beyond. And I remember her beating my cousin and everybody made fun of my cousin. But then she kept wrestling and it went back and forth and it was like people really started to respect her. And they were like, "Oh shit, you're wrestling
Oh,
Aaron
she's
Tomio."
actually good. She's
Yeah.
actually a good wrestler, not just good for a girl or whatever. Um, yeah, I remember, so I wrestled in high school in the boys team for 2 years, and I beat this boy. Like I threw him and I like pinned him, and there's this picture of me like pinning him in the newspaper, and I heard that he quit afterwards, and I'm like, I always was like, that sounds kind of cool, but I also felt kind of bad. Um, but years later, I'm just like, I hope that everything that I've done in like UFC, I hope he like kept tabs and was like, oh, now I don't feel so bad. Like I got beat by someone who became like a UFC champ.
Right.
Like,
Right. Yeah, that's wild. What was it? What was it like? Well, first off, I'll go all the way back. What I really want to know is your upbringing, your relationship with your mom, your relationship with your dad, everything that led to you wanting to step in on the mat.
yeah, I don't know if like necessarily my upbringing is like what led me to step on the mat.
Hmm.
I think it was just an open mind and just like, I'll try this. Like, that sounds cool and just falling in love with it. But I could definitely see like maybe something like inside, like, I feel like the fighting too, like it's even more intense, like something that, like you're fighting for, but you don't even know what you're fighting for. So my mom grew up, in Ecuador. So my mom is from Ecuador and she came to this country and, I think that shows like a lot of courage. She was trying to get her education. Like, my parents split up when I was really little. So my mom was trying to get her education and work. So I didn't see my mom that much. I mean, she did her best and she showed up wherever she could, but it's a lot, now as a mom, like I can understand. I see other moms like trying to balance everything. And, my dad, he tried to be in the picture as much as he could. Like he was, fighting for time with me like every weekend and pick me up after school some days. So I feel very lucky that my parents both like showed up for me and loved me. My dad struggled with alcohol, but he became sober when I was like 4 or 5. So, I think that shows so much willpower and commitment. So, I wouldn't even say it was necessarily like, from my experience, like the bad things that my parents did is like, oh, this made me like have to fight. I feel that it's their perseverance and their commitment, that gave me the strength to want to do it too.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And some fighters show up because their dad fought. You know what I mean? He was a boxer
Yeah.
their whole life. Yeah. So, all right. So your parents, do you remember that they split up when you were young?
I think when I was like 3, My dad actually had it really rough, like grew up in the projects, single mom, all the things. And I think he worked so hard to give me a better life. And I think that's why my mom came here to this country too. Like they both tried to give me something that they didn't have.
Hmm.
So, I definitely feel very lucky. But yeah, my parents split up when I was young, and my dad always was like, you got to be tough. Like, you're little, so you got to be like more tough. So I'm the girl, so he'd always kind of like play games with me, like flinch, like punch
Yep.
me in the
Yeah.
arm. Just like, he's like, you got to be tough because you don't want anybody like push you around, especially being small and a girl. So I was like, yeah. And my dad actually wrestled for like a year in high school, but he was always moving around, so he didn't get into it. And he did some kind of karate, like, I don't know, but he never really talked much about it or anything. So I don't know. It's cool, but I wish I knew more. But my dad's like, that's in the past, whatever, like move forward.
My parents are the same way. Like, you'll never know about this, this, and this, and this. And I'm like, what? That is like a key to unlock a lot. So yeah, I get that. Where was your dad born?
My dad was born here in LA, or
Okay.
I'm in OC now, but he was born in like LA County and stuff, and kind of grew up out there. Like, I think he went to what's it called, Wilmington High School,
Oh
and
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like kind of grew up in that area. Maybe went to what's that? Not Calabasas. What's like the Antelope Valley area? What's
You're asking the
I
wrong
don't know.
person.
Are
I'm
you from
stumped.
LA? Are you from out here?
I mean, I've been here for 20 years, but
Okay.
I'm from Pennsylvania.
Lancaster, Lancaster. Yeah.
Lancaster. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, and my mom came from Ecuador when she was like early 20s or something. And oh, sorry, somebody's
That's okay.
servicing the pool.
So did they meet here? And
Yeah, my parents met here.
okay. Um, is your mom and dad still around, both of them?
Yeah, they're actually funny enough, they're back together. They got back together when I was like maybe like 11 or something when I was in
Oh,
junior high. So
wow.
crazy. And they've kind of been together ever since. They actually live 2 miles from me down here. So it's cool to get to hang out with my son and I get to see him pretty often. So
That surprised me. Like everything that you've said, I'm like, man, rough, I get it. Like projects, Ecuador, coming together, kid, that's all of that is so, as you know now, having a kid, it is so difficult. It's
yeah, I mean, I read the stats. I think like it's somewhere between like 15 and 20% of couples like get divorced in the first year of having a child. And it's like a lot of life changes and it's stressful and like a lot of new responsibilities. There's no break, there's no getting up, sleeping in, there's no like I'm just gonna go do this when I want to. It's like every little thing takes like so much planning and like things fall through or like I feel like it's being a parent is like being a mom. Like you can plan for one thing or being a parent like thing I'm gonna do this and oh, now the kid like wants to be up all night, is teething, or this is happening, or that's happening, or they're throwing a fit now, or something is just, and you got to kind of be prepared to like roll with it. Cause if you're like, I feel like if you're like, I'm going to go into this fight and I'm going to hit them, I'm going to throw a left, I'm going to throw a right, I'm going to take them down, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to finish the fight. And that's how it's going to go. Like if you're so set in one mindset, then that's what's going to mess you up. You're going to be like, I'm on my back right now. Like this wasn't
yep.
supposed to happen. What do I do now? Like to be like kind of prepare for everything and be open minded to like anything happening.
Yeah, there's so many parallels to almost everything in life. I mean, yeah, when you just said that, it's the same as same in acting. It's, if you read your line and you're like, oh, I'm going to say it like this. Well, then it just comes across like you're saying a line and you had an idea of how you're going to say it and it just never turns out well.
Yeah,
So
for sure. I could see that. Like it's so interesting. Like I feel like any art, whether that's like music or like acting or like martial arts, it's like you kind of have to like feel through like you have to prepare, but then you can't just be like so like this is exactly what's going to happen. Like sometimes it goes that way, but sometimes like you got to go with the flow.
Yeah, it's wild. It's like prepare, 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 and you work the same movement over and over and over, and then let it all go. Just let it all go. And it's really hard to do that.
I bet. I
Yeah.
bet. So funny story. Like I'm just going to throw it out there. So I was never like an actress or anything, but I did play Annie in my like when I was in sixth grade or something in elementary school. So that was like my acting experience, much different than on the pro level, but it's I did sing and I did act and I did all the things. It was a
That's
cool experience.
awesome. So like this is a great time to ask like what was the split? Because you could have easily gone and been like that's it. I'm an actress. I'm going to be an actress and I'm going to go for it. But you went for wrestling and then I want to hear that whole journey. Like first off, what was the decision to get on the wrestling team? Like how did you even do that? Because there's no women in wrestling. There
Yeah.
was at the time, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, fortunately, they actually did have one girl on the team when I joined. So it probably set the stage like for like everybody kind of had the mindset she was tough, she was a good wrestler. So like her name is Adley. So we actually were featured in the local newspaper together, which is cool. I still have that paper somewhere, but yeah, I think I was actually playing basketball at the time, believe it or not, which was also a new thing for me. I think go to a new high school in like a different area. Like, let me try something new. Let me try basketball, even though I'm 5 foot tall. Wasn't necessarily the sport for me. Like, I even ran into my old high school basketball coach, like when recently, at the high school and I was like, hey, what's up, Marcelo? And he was like, yeah, he's like, you had something. It probably just wasn't for basketball, but it's like,
Right.
you found what you were supposed to do. And, cause I got most improved in basketball because I think I work hard, I try hard, like I want it, but being 5 foot tall, like maybe, and not experienced, when people are so experienced in it. But yeah, I mean, just kind of went with the flow. I was always really strong for my size. So I lifted weights since junior high and I was always super strong. I would like go into the weight room, like our 24-hour fitness, and people would be like, I'd be like, I'm going to bench press or like lift weights or whatever. And people were always like looking at me like, oh, like that little girl is so strong. And there's probably not a ton of like athletic women in the gym at the time. So, yeah, somebody was just like, I was lifting at the weight room at the high school and someone was like, you are so strong for your size. You should try wrestling. And I was like, what's wrestling? Like, I didn't even know what it was, but I was like, I'll just show up. Like, why not? And, I showed up and I kind of like learned a little bit and I kind of like wrestled with some girl and like I threw her down and I was like, oh, this is fun. I just kind of fell in love and, the rest is history.
What was the team like? Like what how was your experience on the team? Because I'm sure like you had to get on the bus and go to different schools, right? Is that kind of how it was?
Yeah, like I did go to different schools. Unfortunately, my mom did like drive me to places, and I actually had one coach, Darren DeHarris. I met him. So I went to tournaments by myself because I didn't have a coach to take me because the coaches were with the guys team. So I remember meeting a couple of coaches like Coach Black from Santa Monica High School. He had one girl, Jazzy, and he kind of took me under his wing and like, he took me to nationals with her. Like we all went together and in Michigan like 2 times and Coach D, like Coach DeHarris, I also ran into him at a tournament and he was like, I think people saw the drive in me and how hard I
Hmm.
wanted to work and how much I wanted to be there. And I think as a coach, like, or even anybody, you just see somebody who wants it bad and who wants to work hard and they're hungry and you're just like, I want to help this person. And, I had a lot of people like help me and open their rooms up to me so I could go wrestle. Coach DeHarris would like come pick me up and drive me all the way to San Marino to like his practice room. And, he had another girl on the team. So I think it was hard to find girls too to wrestle. So I think it
Right.
was, like it was, I don't think I would be here without so many people like sticking their neck out to like help me and have my back. And they saw some like little girl who wanted help and, you know, or who needed help and was just like, I don't know what to do. Where am I? Who was kind of lost. And they're like, let me help you. Like, you want it. And, you know, and I was able to go to college and wrestle. And I was able to be a two-time All-American in high school and place third at nationals. And then I was able to go to college because I ran into the coach. I didn't even think I was going to go to college. And, you know, Coach Lee Allen, two-time Olympian, he was like, hey, you know, you should come check out our college. Here, let me fill out the form. Like, let me help you fill out the form and we'll get you like enrolled. And by the time I was like, what are you going to do about college? I'm like, oh, it's too late to sign up anywhere. I was like, oh yeah, we have this Menlo College thing and just come along. Like, so it just kind of all worked out, you know, and I just feel very blessed for so many that kind of took me under their wing when if I didn't have that, I probably, who knows where I would be right now.
Yeah, those people are like real angels. I feel like among us, you know, those like you said, without those people, would you have found a ride to different tournaments and practices and all that? So you didn't practice with the boys.
I practiced on my team, but like during the off season, you know, like there wasn't that much going on, you know, so it was like I wanted to keep getting better. Like I was like, I need to wrestle freestyle. I need to put the time in because I'm behind because I didn't wrestle freshman and sophomore year. I was playing basketball. So it was like,
Mm,
what do I need to do like to get better? I need to like I would go to the local freestyle tournaments, get a USA wrestling card, which was like $25 or $20, which I love because I feel like they've made wrestling affordable, unlike a lot of sports.
yeah.
So it was like, okay, like there's a tournament. I'm gonna go wrestle two or three weight classes and some extra matches. Like, let me put in as much as I can to like get as good as I can quickly. And yeah, I was just able to do a lot. But I think I wanted it too, you know, like
Yeah, where did that drive come from? Because I'm just thinking like a young kid, most kids want to hang out with their friends and play video games and like get into whatever kids are getting into. So where did that drive come from? Do you know?
Um, I think part of it was inside me, you know, like, so one of my uncles recently told me, he was like, yeah, I remember even as a little kid, you were like, let's sprint. Like, I was competitive and I wanted to like, I just had something in me. And I see that in my son, but obviously I'm probably biased.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like I think I had that in me, but I think, you know, just, I think having your parents around is so important because, like I said, my dad came from really bad circumstances, and I think he was so determined to give me a different life and to change himself
Mm,
because, you know, it's like he could be drinking or he could be like just a loser, but he was like always taking me like out on picking me up from school and he was like, okay, you can play and I'm going to watch you, but I'm going to be studying and studying and studying and taking certifications and getting better and learning so I can make more money to take care of you and grow
wow.
as a person. And he used to do like self-help seminars and, you know, he was just always trying to grow. And I think that, and then my mom, like, I guess she was too, like trying to go to school and always working. And, you know, maybe I didn't get as much time with her, but like, I think our kids see like they learn more from who we are and what we're doing as opposed to like what we're telling them to do. You know, we're their
Yeah.
biggest example, you know, especially early on. So I honestly like I attribute that to my parents. Just seeing them like persevering and working hard and just having so much resilience through life when maybe they had an excuse to be like, well, I grew up in the projects and my mom was abusive or this or that. Like, let me just
Yep.
make that my excuse. But I
Yeah.
think, just having them as an example was, you know, what really help set me apart. And it was a rocky road to start, but I think, you know, like just having that foundation was super helpful.
Yeah. Were you aware that it was a rocky start like when you were young?
I think when you grow up in certain neighborhoods, I think you have more kids that have similar backgrounds or stories and, you
Hmm.
know, a lot of people doing drugs and a lot of people, you know, just doing bad things. And my dad would take me to the AA meetings. And I would just kind of
Wow.
sit and sometimes I'd sit in on the meetings. Sometimes I would like, you know, just play video games. Usually I would be playing video games in
Yeah.
the game room or whatever. But, um, yeah, I don't think, I think the older you get, the more you start realizing like maybe not everybody lives like this. But I think as a child, you are so like just centered in your own world and what you have is, that's all you know. So I don't think I knew that. I think I didn't even really start realizing some things until I got older.
Hmm.
Like my husband has this family where he's just like they're still married and they were married since they were like 20 and they never fought and they had a different life than me and I'm like, "Oh, like that's how it's supposed to be." And I want to give
Yeah,
that to my son, so I'm
sure.
constantly working to better myself too. And this is like a mentality I have to take not only through fighting but just through life, like always trying to be better.
It's tough. It's really tough, especially like when you don't realize something's affecting you, and then yeah, all of a sudden it comes out in this really ugly way, and then you're like, wow, I have to better myself. It's really tough though, especially with kids. I find
Yeah.
myself every time losing my patience with my daughter, and then I'm like, "Ah, I didn't want to do that."
Like what better motivation to like to grow though, right? And to
Yep.
like you're like, like I don't want to be this person to my child. Like, how am I going to get better or whatever? Like, I mean, I just started seeing like a therapist. Like, I just had my second session with a therapist, and she's like, "What is your goal?" And I was like, "My goal is to work on my patience, my reactivity. Like, I want to be better if like when I'm upset and like." Not that I go crazy, but like I don't want to be rude to anybody. I want to be like take a second and breathe and like
Hmm.
give like a more like a better response, and I'm just like, okay. And it's going to be a work in progress. I think when we're the most tired and we're the most like busy or stressed, like obviously we're going to not be our best selves. So, if I'm like in a great mood and it's easy for me to be like, oh no, don't worry. Like, but
So easy.
yeah, but I think it's the times it's like in jujitsu, like you don't prepare for the easy match, right? Like you're gonna train with somebody who like who you can stomp. So I'm just gonna do whatever, but like you train for the times when it's gonna be hard and you won't have these tools or you're gonna have to figure it out more. So I think that's I think I'm just trying to apply that mentality like towards these things too.
That's really interesting. I actually, thinking back to wrestling, I'm like, man, I was just there because I had to pick a sport. So I was there wrestling 12 years. And, man, I got to be honest, I hated wrestling. I, I hated it for 12 years. I loved it, but I hated it. I'm sure you
How
understand
old
that.
were you when you started?
I was, I was definitely, like first, second, third, maybe anywhere from first to third grade, something like that. I I started young,
Yeah.
and oddly enough, my dad just told me this is really strange. Like that just came up. He just told me I think I started you guys too early, and he's like you should have been like playing and doing other stuff, and he said I think sometimes parents start kids too early and they should be doing something else. And I kind of agreed, but I kind of disagreed because I think it's really great for kids to start any sport early, but not the. I feel like
Necessity.
what happens is like us as parents, we're like, man, we want you to be good. We want you to be good. We don't want to see you struggle. So work harder, work harder, work harder instead of just going to just play, have fun. If it,
Yeah, totally. Like, I mean, I've seen that all the time. Like, just even as an athlete, seeing people bring their kids in and burn them out. And
yeah,
I've even had teammates that are like, their parents were like, go, 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 go from such a young age that by the time they were in their early 20s, they quit because they were like, they were really good, but they were just so mentally burnt out. That was all they'd known. They didn't get to do other things. So, I totally get that. And I mean, like, people are like, are you going to put Donovan in jujitsu or wrestling or this or that? And I'm like, probably, yeah, I will. But
yeah,
I'm also going to have him like do other things. I'm going to have him try soccer and baseball and this and that and whatever. And I want that to be one too, like wrestling and jujitsu, but I don't want that to be his everything
yeah,
because, you know,
yeah. Back in my day, wrestling parents were nuts. They were nuts.
probably still are.
Yeah, they probably still are. Yeah, I remember like one mom getting ejected from from the tournament because she's like screaming. She fought another mom. It's like all this stuff that's crazy. So yeah, I think it is the parents that push the kids too hard sometimes. I don't know. It's then you have Tiger Woods, people like he was pushed very
Yeah.
hard.
But I would say there's more of the other example than there is of Tiger Woods.
Absolutely.
Bulls.
Absolutely. So what did your parents think about you getting in wrestling? Was that like a decision that you all made together? Were how'd that go?
No, they, I think my parents were always open-minded. They're like, I'm like, I'm gonna wrestle. They're like, cool. You know, they
Yeah.
just let me do my thing. And we're always like pretty open-minded. And in retrospect, that's probably like a lot more rare than I would have realized because I think most dads, especially, or moms, whatever, would be like, especially back in the day, would have been like, "You're- that's for boys. Like, what do you do?"
Yeah, they would have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talked you out of it. You sure
Yeah.
you want to do this? Then you're like, wait, I think so.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess I'm lucky that my situation, or I probably wouldn't be here. I'm doing what I'm doing. But yeah, I mean, like, I guess just all the stars kind of aligned, right?
Yep. I mean, yeah, the fact that you had all those people driving you to places and taking care of you, that's huge. I mean, that's such a selfless act. It's really beautiful to hear that. Um, do you have any stories that weren't so great during wrestling? Like guys like the on the team not treating you well or were they pretty open?
I would say just like I said, there was another girl who probably set the stage for me, thankfully, because I also know that a lot of girls in girls wrestling, like, they could get bad reputations and it's like, oh, they're just in here to like meet boys and this and that. So it's like, but luckily, like I think that I had a pretty good experience with my teammates, other than like guys maybe kind of like, guys give each other crap and they gave me crap too. It's like, oh, like you're this or you're that, or, like whatever, like, like, I mean, the typical things that you would say to a girl, it's like, oh,
Right.
whatever. But
Right.
at the end of the day, and I would go to other places and the guys would treat me with so much respect. But I don't know, like that's probably typical of just like teammates. Sometimes they're your own people, so they just give you crap. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I feel like I've been pretty lucky overall. Like I didn't have any like crazy bad stories. I've had a lot of stuff that I've seen, and girls, maybe they date somebody at the gym, and then then it's like, oh, now they have a bad reputation, and people lose respect for them. So I think I had always made it such a strong point for me to like always look serious, always look business, like, try to like just stay focused. And I used to just, when I started training MMA, I just would go to the gym and I would just train and I would like wouldn't talk to anyone. I would take my backpack and I would leave. And I was like,
Hmm.
that's it. Like, I'm not here to socialize. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to fight and get better, you know?
So how did that crossover happen from wrestling to fighting?
I
Was it
think I
just like,
wanted to. Yeah, I think I just wanted to try something else, like in the meantime in summer, because like I don't want to get burnt out on wrestling. So I was like,
yeah,
oh, let me try jujitsu or let me try kickboxing or boxing. And I just would kind of like do stuff in the summer to stay in shape, but like do something different. And, it was like, oh, now I'm doing jujitsu. Now I'm doing cardio kickboxing. Now I'm doing boxing. Like, and then I kind of fell into a gym. Like, I didn't really have any money, but like my old jujitsu instructor, Giuliano Prado, was like, oh, you have a wrestling background. Like, you're really good. Like, he's like, you can come train here for free. And I was like, oh,
wow.
for free. But I was commuting all the way out here to Irvine from Redondo Beach. I was like, it's still like got to pay for gas. But I mean, I was like, this is cool. Like, I'm going to keep
Hmm.
training. And yeah, I mean, it kind of worked out. So I'm
Did you
lucky
have a
I
job at the time?
No. I mean, I was going to school. I was going to college.
Gotcha.
So I would do those, I would do like promo gigs sometimes, like promo modeling, like let me go to this event and hand out some keychains or whatever. That would probably pay for my gas. But I mean, I didn't really like need much, you know. It was like I go to the gym and train, and I need gas money and I need food. I was living with my parents, so which I did for a little bit, for a couple of years while I was fighting, because fighters are broke, and I was making a couple
Yeah.
$100 a fight.
Yeah. So that it sounds really tough to go from wrestling to fighting. But what was it? It seems like it was pretty easy for you. Like it was just
I think I
kind of
had that
something you
same
were,
open mind, like I'm just gonna train all this stuff and da da da. And I was, but before I knew it, I was already training MMA, even though I didn't know what it was. And I kind of fell into a gym that, that was their thing, was MMA. So I would drive from Irvine, like, and I'd be like, I'm doing jujitsu. Well, when you're young, you have like lots of energy. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take this cardio kickboxing, and then that turned into the Muay Thai class, and then it's just, I kept training, and I stayed in touch with Kotoyama, who was, is still my coach to this day, or until I just retired. So we were together for training for like 18 years.
wow.
I just kind of stayed loyal to him, and, he took me all the way to the top and back.
Yeah. So it
So yeah.
wasn't even what was it? Would you say it wasn't a goal? It was just more of something you loved to do and you felt like it was helping your mind, body.
Yeah, I mean, that many years ago, like MMA wasn't a thing. Like people weren't
Yeah.
like, oh, everyone's gonna watch UFC this weekend. It's like, what is that thing? Like
Yeah.
the thing where people hit each other, and that's pretty violent. Like I had never even watched a UFC fight or any MMA at that time. But he was, I kind of found out what it was, and I was training up in college area, and someone was like, "You should take this fight. It's $1,500." And I was like, what? $1,500 to fight this boxer, Elena Reed? And I was wrestling. But Coach Oyama was like, don't take that fight. Don't mess with your eligibility status, because college wrestling is an amateur sport. He's like, just wait, finish college, like do your thing. And I was like, I guess, and I actually tore my ACL training my senior year, like the week before graduation or a couple weeks before, and I had surgery, and then I walked across my graduation stage in crutches. And then, yeah, and then I fought. That was in May, and then I had my first pro fight in February. So that year, so it was like
Wow.
eight months later, I think. But I like, as soon as I got the green light from my physical therapist, she was like, "Yeah, you can start training like boxing and whatever." I just got back to it and won my first pro fight in like 39 seconds, I think. Thankfully.
Wow. Wow. That's so cool. So what was that like going from wrestling? Because wrestling isn't like, you're not you sort of hurt people, right? Like you could put some people in like a little bit of pain, but it's so much different punching somebody in the face. Wouldn't you
It
say?
is. Oh, it totally is, but I would say the grind of wrestling is much more is as intense, because obviously you
Yeah.
incorporate that too, like as fighting. But I think if you don't like to get hit in the face, then it might not be the sport for some
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think it's that, like wrestling is like you don't get a second to breathe sometimes. Someone's like, go, they come and they attack you and they attack you, and like people are so like
Mhm.
tenacious, and it's like they go and they go and they go and they go, and like that's the wrestler pace that makes the best wrestlers, and that's kind of the mentality in wrestling in general. Whereas jujitsu, like I know I could go train some gi jujitsu, and I can kind of like chill, and I can get on top, and I can kind of like just hold somebody, but wrestling is not like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think MMA, like with the fighting, I think if you bring that mentality to fighting, yeah, it's tough. But I think in fighting, there can tend to be like more breaks too. Like if you have someone on the cage, or you're kind of like outside just feeling somebody out, obviously it can be intense too. You can like get some major, like catch some major hits or get into some brawls. Like, you have like, some just, who just fought, for the BMF title, Poirier and,
Oh yeah.
Holloway.
Holloway.
Yeah, but
I didn't get to see the fight yet.
I didn't either. Like, but I can already assume, just knowing how Max is, that it was like a brawl, But like any of his fights, it's like, you can have like these intense like brawl fights too. But for the most part, I feel like wrestling is more like nonstop.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. What was your hardest fight? And actually, I wanted to ask you when you first got punched in the face, what was that like? Were you like, yeah or no?
I think that actually tells you a lot about the type of person you are and like whether
Huge.
this is for you.
Yep.
I think that people like for me when I would like of course like everyone's kind of like oh I'm getting hit but then you want to like back after somebody like you get kind of mad and you're like
Yep.
I'm gonna get you. I think like those are the people who are like more likely probably gonna do better with like getting hit and like that aspect of fighting because I think if you're like somebody's like I don't like this. I mean you can obviously like keep training and get better but I think the people that are just like I'm gonna like come back and like take over. I think that is I think those type of people are like tend to like fighting more.
I'm guessing that's you.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me and one of my best friends, like, we became best friends because we were like trying to kill each other, like at sparring all the time.
It's fun. It's really fun. I remember when my trainer cracked me in the face once, and it was the first time like I didn't think he was going to, and it was like, what what just happened? But then after that, like sparring and like you get hit, you just roll with it. It just kind of like, yeah, you're not
Sure.
really sure. But I'm sure it's a lot different in the octagon.
Oh, it is, but you also have a lot of adrenaline going. But yeah, no, I think there's so many other aspects in the octagon because you have the crowd and then you have also the pressure because you've built so much leading up to this moment. It's not just like a sparring session, like, oh, I'm gonna have like 5 rounds with different people, or I'm gonna like come back in a couple days and spar again. It's like all of like your training and everything you've done up until that point is like that's that's it, and a lot of people fold under that pressure. And I think that's what set the great fighters apart from the people who are maybe great in the sparring room, like in the gym. Right? Because I've seen a lot of more people, honestly, probably that are like much more talented than me. Even people that have like beat me up, and I'm like, this person should be like a UFC star, but sometimes people it just doesn't translate to the cage.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a soup. You have to have like all the ingredients. It seems.
Yeah, for sure. And you can build things and you can grow. Like you can work on your mind just like you can work on your technique and just like you can work on your diet and just like
Yep.
you can work on your cardio. But it's not everybody that is going to look at their weaknesses and focus on them. And I think that also is what sets people apart because some people just want to do what they're good at and what they like.
Right. Yeah. All right. So when you got the call for season 20, Ultimate Fighter, what was that like?
It was so cool. I was actually at Timo Yama at my gym and remember it was like you answer the phone and it's like, hey, this is Dana White. Like, welcome to the UFC. You're gonna be on season 20 of The Ultimate Fighter. And it's just like, oh my God, like, is this real? Like, and I think it was even more like crazy for me because I didn't audition for this show, right? Like I there wasn't my division in the UFC. So it's kind of like it'll probably never happen for me. Like women, aren't really in the UFC. Like they just have Ronda Rousey because her division because it's Ronda Rousey and
Right.
that's probably going to be it. Like that's, whatever, whatever. And then it's just like this is happening. Like it was kind of blindsided and so excited. Like
So you
yeah,
had no idea you were getting a call.
no.
So what made you take the call? You were just like, oh, somebody's calling. I'm going to answer it.
Yeah, I think so. I may have even like
That's
yeah. Yeah, I think I was just at the gym like right before training or something. It was like can't believe this is happening. Yeah, it was so cool.
when you hung up, were there those feelings? Because I feel like these are very normal feelings of like, oh God, am I ready?
No, I was already champion at that point.
That's wild.
It was just like any camp. It's like, what do I need to do to get as ready as I can for this? You
That's
know?
wild. Carla, that's special. Like that's a special feeling because I think a lot of people, I mean, me included, when when I'm doing something, there's always that voice inside going like, "Oh, maybe you can't." I don't know. Maybe they tell you the voice says all the reasons why you can't, and you don't have that. It seems like.
I mean, I've definitely had like doubts over the years, but I think that's actually one of the biggest places I've grown is to to stop having the doubts and to know that even if what I do is not successful, that I know that I gave it my everything and I can walk
Mm,
away and be like, there was nothing more I could have done. Or if there was, maybe I'll make adjustments if I'm going to try again or whatever. But in that moment, for that effort, I can genuinely look in the mirror and say, like, you did everything in your power and in your knowledge to like be the best. And like, that's how I even look at being a mom right now. Like, could I be better at like, putting him down for naps or teaching him this or like, working on him with certain things like sharing or whatever. Maybe I could, but I know I can, like I feel like a lot of parents can be I'm not as good of a parent or I'm not this, but I'm just like, I know that I'm working hard and I know I'm working my hardest and giving it my hardest, even if sometimes I'm not all there because nobody's going to be all there all the time. So if you look at everybody in a scale of like, we're human and we need rest and whatever, like, I feel that I am giving my everything and I feel good about it. Like just because it's not perfect doesn't mean I'm not doing a great job. And I feel like that at a fight, like if I can honestly say I know I gave it my best and did everything, I feel good about it.
that's really powerful. I think a lot of people hearing that, like me included, that's really great advice and just a good thing to remember all the time that you're giving it your best with everything you got. So in The Ultimate Fighter, was there anything you regretted or was there anything that you wish you could have done better?
Yeah, like looking back at it, I guess I wish I would have realized that not the whole story is going to be painted for everybody. Like the audience is not necessarily going to see like every moment that you're seeing. So maybe if you have like a certain reaction, like if somebody called me a bad word and I was like, well, F you too, and da 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 da, and maybe only what I did was shown. And it was like, now I
Mm,
look like a bad guy, or, if I did everything the right way and this person still was like really messed up to us or whatever, and I'm just like, well, whatever, then they suck. And, like it's just, I wish I would have, like just kind of been, like been more mature about some things and just been like, whatever then, but, I would say that like me and my best friend Felice, like we were kind of like, really nice to somebody and did, all the things like really like above and beyond nice and try to be their friend. And then they, when Felice got pitted to fight against her, like things really changed and she was not a nice person to us. And you know, like I wish I kind of like, I wish I kind of would have just been like walked away from it and been like, she's being like this. Yeah, I just wish I would have like handled it in a more mature way because now like I think I would handle it differently. But I think me and Felice were just like having fun and like
yeah.
we stood up and we said like what we had to her face and and like we talked said what we said behind like when she wasn't there. But it's the whole story is not going to be like painted for everybody, and I think we weren't painted in the best light. And but we all make our own decisions, right? And like I have to live with what happened and whether I think it should have been this way or that way. Like I guess just going into the show with a different mentality of like what's going to kind of be displayed for the world, you know?
Yeah. That's
Because
tough.
yeah,
That's
reality
tough.
TV is like you don't know what story they're going to tell. Like it could be.
Absolutely.
So I think it was played well for like the show. I think it got people really like interested and invested, because I
Yeah.
think Felice, lost to this person and then it was like, oh, let's paint you guys as more villains. And then this kind of like, oh, she beat the villain and this and that, it like it makes her a good story, but it's like, not good for us,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
But overall, like it was a really tough experience, like haha, pun intended, but not no pun intended, but it was, I mean, it was a story that a journey that I had to take to get to where I am today. It was like part of my journey. So
For
I don't
sure.
regret it, but if I could change a couple things, maybe I would, but
Yeah. Yeah. How old were you?
I think I was 25 at the time.
It's pretty young.
Yeah, I think you have to be at least 21 to get on the show because actually Paige Van Zant was supposed to be on, but she just missed the cutoff. And Rose Namajunas just barely made the cutoff. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, crazy times.
Yeah, I'm sure that like what is that like talking about it? Because it probably seems like so long ago.
Yeah, I mean, it was over a decade ago, and it was cool. I got to go coach on Chael Sonnen's team and kind of
Saw
like
that.
relive some of that experience recently. So that kind of brought back all the memories and stuff, and yeah, it was cool. Like it was a really unique experience, and it was a once in a lifetime experience for sure.
I'm sure. It was awesome to see you come back too. Like you could see, I could see how much it meant to you, which was really nice to watch. It was really
Yeah,
cool.
no, for sure. It was like when they made the call, I was like, sure, I'm gonna be there. Like, let me know when it come out. They originally were gonna do like all the champs of all that came from Tough, but it just timing didn't work out for everyone. But yeah, it was definitely cool to 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 be back there. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see. Oh, here's a question I had for you. Your most brutal fight versus giving birth. What was worse?
I would say the most brutal fight.
Most brutal fight?
Yeah.
Wow. What was that? What would you say?
I would say it's probably like I would probably say like versus Tatiana Suarez. Cause just like, like having somebody use my own like top weapon against me and I like was
Yeah.
helpless. I'm like, I can't do anything. And like just, getting TKO'd and just like, I can't stop. I felt like I was really tough in that fight, but the tougher you are, the more of a beating you're going to take. Like if you have no quit. And, that was definitely like a tough fight. And felt a lot bigger than me. And, well, I know she's walks around a lot bigger than me, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was tough. But I mean, I think giving birth, like I had the epidural too, but I actually made it like to almost like having my baby without. So they were like, "Are
Yeah.
you sure you just want to go through?" I'm like, "No, no, no, no. Give me the epidural. I've been tough enough in my life. I don't need to show anything else." So yeah. But like, yeah, I had actually like my birth story. I was like going through labor for like a really long time and having contractions like really quickly, like every other minute or every minute. So it was like at hours of like, what is it? Is it supposed to be like this? But yeah. So it definitely was not fun, but
Yeah. Yeah. Just watching. I'm sure your husband like felt it too. Like watching my wife, it was rough. I mean, just driving her to the hospital and she was just like, I'm getting the epidural. I'm getting it. And I'm like, oh my God. And she like actually collapsed during a contraction. Like it was really,
oh,
really rough. Yeah. So that's why I was like, man, it's something that men will never be able to experience, which is
oh,
wild.
for sure. No, it's wild. Like, I've had surgeries, like labor is definitely it's like a really bad pain, but it's just so long. So like, with surgeries, you're just like, oh, one day, and it's like kind of like this steady pace, but like the contractions are just like, rah! And then you're like, okay, it's cool. Ah! Like it's just like it's a lot. So yeah, I would say it was pretty brutal for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I remember I walked up like I gave birth at Hoag Hospital, and I remember I was like, hey, I'm having a baby. They're like, okay, let's check you in. You're pretty far along and you seem fine. Yeah, are you sure you want an epidural? You could probably have it, no problem. And like naturally, and I was like, no, 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 no. Like, give me an epidural right now.
yeah, it's that's a wild ride. That is so crazy. Um, how old's your son now?
He's 22 months, so he'll be 2 in 2 months
Oh
in
my
September.
gosh.
So yeah,
That's so cool. So does he have any awareness of like who his mom is?
absolutely not. Like he
No.
smacks me all the time. Like I'm like, are you
Do you
crazy?
know who I am? Do you have
He's
any
like,
idea who I am?
he's like, give me that book. And I'm like, no hitting. Hitting is not nice. Like hitting hurts, you know? I'm like, if you get mad, like I have this like bag right here. Like I'm like, if you get mad, just go hit the bag. You know, so I've had him hit it a couple times. He's like, mm. But
Do you
I'll
get
be
into like showing him how like mechanics?
no, not at all. Like
Okay, okay.
I actually don't want to teach him any fighting right now because he doesn't have the awareness or like
Sure.
the self-control to not use it on the playground. He takes me down sometimes, which I kind of like indulge. Like he'll run after me and just be like, "Oh," and I'll follow, take down. But I saw him taking a kid down at the playground a couple days ago, so I'm like, maybe I should cool it. Like he'll pin me and stuff. I'm like, "Oh no, you're pinning me!" Like, yeah, he's funny, but in
That
time,
that's gonna
yeah.
be so fun for you, like growing up, because even my daughter and I, like we wrestle, and she it's her favorite thing now. She's like, let's wrestle. And I'm like more like I told you, I couldn't stand wrestling. So I'm like, then when I started training stand up and started, Muay Thai and stuff, that I'm obsessed with it. So now I'm like asking my daughter, do Muay Thai with me, and she's like, no, we're going to the ground. Let's go, let's go. Yeah, it's funny. It's so
That's
fun though.
that's so cool. How old is she?
She's 8.
Okay, nice.
She's 8 and I think she's almost 5 foot
Oh
at
my
8 years
gosh.
old. Yeah.
Yeah, like she's as tall as me. That's
And she
crazy.
she used to wear Tika shoes and now she doesn't fit them.
Oh my gosh. How tall are you?
I'm 5'11". Tika's 5'7".
Oh, okay. Yeah. That
Yeah.
combo. She'll be tall for sure.
Yeah. So I'm like, maybe I shouldn't teach her some things, hold it back. All right. So the last thing that I wanted to ask you is like you were talking about perseverance, like your perseverance. Did you learn it? Was it built in? And like really what I want people listening to this to be inspired as well. So what would you tell people about perseverance?
I would say I'm sure some of it, like with all of us, it's, you fight when you have to and you keep coming back, you keep coming back. But I would definitely say it's like it's learned, but you have to be brave in the little moments. Like, okay, like maybe at the gym today, like I showed up and, like I got, submitted or taken down or whatever, like 5 times. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to go tomorrow and, maybe I'm not going to be where I want to be, but just kind of having some humility, like losing the ego and just being like, I'm here to get better. And if I don't always get like the thing I want right now, that doesn't mean like I have to quit. So just like practicing that like mentality in the little moments and like being consistent with that, I think it's just like with anything else, it can grow. And that's where it was for me. Like, cause I've had a lot of rough days in the gym and some days I was like, oh, I feel so bad after wanted to do this or I didn't have a good day. I got beat up or this or that. And it's just like, I could easily be like, I quit this. This is too hard. But, just being willing, and I try to apply that to everything. And, I just think you have to keep growing and keep pushing yourself in the little ways. And it just it will just, it adds up over time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the long game. Great
Yeah, life's not a
advice.
race, it's a marathon.
I gotta take that advice. Me, I'm like, why is nothing happening? Tika's like, you just started it. What's take your time.
Yeah.
Um, do you ever feel like you're gonna come back?
No, I mean, I'll be 38 in October. Like this professional athlete life is a young person's game. Like I'm sitting here training with like 18, 19-year-olds and I'm like, when I started this sport, you were like in your mom's tummy or like, in diapers. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I plan to train again, especially if my son gets into it. Like I'll coach him or I'll kind of like train with him and stuff and get back into it. But as far as like doing it on a professional level, like I don't think that's for me. It takes a lot of commitment to give the performance that I want to give at my standard, and I mean I may be like, oh, let me do this fun tournament or this or that, but it's just for me, I can't just show up and train a little bit and it's just because I've done this for so long. Like, I think, I just, it's hard. And like with my body too, as we get older, like I put so much time into foam rolling and stretching and warming up because, as a longtime athlete or just a person getting older, like, you just have to put a lot more into your body care and, getting body work done and all these things.
Sure.
It's before you know it, you could be getting a surgery and then you're out for a year. And it's just like, do you want to come back from that? So, I just put so much commitment into that. For me, it's not just like I'm just going to show up to the gym for 1 or 2 hours and train and go home. Like, you know,
Yeah, well, even having an injury, like I know, God, with me, like if I throw out my lower back, I'm like, this is it. This is the end of my life. I'm done. I'm an old man. I can't carry my daughter. So
yeah.
I don't know how. I have no idea how. Maybe you know, but blowing out your knee and then getting surgery. How do you find that drive to get back in?
It's definitely, I think, easier when you're younger. You're
Yeah,
more, your body is physically more resilient. I think as you get older, like just treating the injury like the same thing as you do with any sport and trying to be or anything trying to be successful. You listen to the people like your doctors and your physical therapists who are the experts. They say like, you can train this hard or training, you need to rest at this time and you need to, take this amount of time to come back. Like just having that patience and just listening to your coaches and whatever, I think is the most important and just, slowly coming back. But even from the small injuries, I was going to OC Fight Doc like 4 or 5 days a week in camp towards my last
wow.
couple of years to like made sure I was always maintained and taking care of my body because my body is my job.
Yep,
So, I foam roll like 30 minutes to an hour before every training session, just taking this time and attention to, take care of my body was really important. Getting massages every week, like from sports massages, making sure everything was balanced because knowing that, things being tight or like muscle weakness in certain areas can create these injuries,
sure.
just trying to do as much as I can to control this situation, like being very careful about my training partners. Like, oh, this person's new and they're big or, a lot bigger than me, or they're a spaz. Like, I'm not going with them. It's feels bad to say no sometimes. Like, sorry, I'm gonna sit this one out or go with them. Just being very intentional about my training and my, pre-training and post-training.
Yep. Well, Carla, I'm gonna end it with this. You're I I don't have the words, but you're such an inspiration. Like you really are. Like you really started women's MMA. Like you that's such a huge undertaking. So fighting your way from Invicta to Bellator to UFC, not to mention your wrestling career, it's like climbing Mount Everest over and over and over again. So being a two-time world champion, considered the best strawweight fighter of your time, what would you tell women or young women that are starting in any sport that that's going to take this as much fighting as what you went through?
I would just tell all the girls and the women trying, whether it's a sport or anything like that's new and different, is just keep showing up, keep working hard, stay consistent. Life's not always going to give you the hand you want. So maybe you're going to have to work 5 times harder than the person or the male next to you or whoever it is to get what you want. But, you just have to hold your head up and keep working hard and keep showing up.
That's awesome. Carla, thank you so much. It was an honor talking to you.
Thank you so much.
The Heart of the Bad Wolf is created and hosted by Nicholas James Muscarella, produced by Nicholas James Muscarella and Robert Altschuler, edited, recorded, and mixed by Robert Altschuler at Command Creative Studios. Music by Alex Grohl. Special thanks to every fighter who shared their story and their wolf. Don't forget to hit the like, follow, and subscribe button on your favorite podcast platform to get notified when new episodes drop. Also, make sure you follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Heart of the Bad Wolf.